Nice having you here. In today's video, I'm going to show you how to actually use Python to answer questions from data as a data analyst. It's something very simple. I'm going to show you how to actually create visualization using Python. So we're going to be using, health data to actually demonstrate this particular Python class today. All you have to do is to make sure you go to the description box and download data from there and follow me step by step. So in case you don't have Python installed already on your machine, all you have to do is to click on the video link right there to actually look at how to install Python, or specifically installing Anaconda and run Jupyter Notebook right from it. It's something very simple and easy. I'm going to show you how to actually get everything done from A to Z. So see you in the class. To follow up this particular project step by step, all you have to do is to download this particular data from the description box. So this is the data we're going to use for this particular project. Over here are the questions we actually need to answer using the data set you have just seen or you have just downloaded. So the first one says, what is the total numbers of patients? And over here is actually asking, how is the patient population distributed by gender? And right now in this particular one, we need to look at the patient's age group by total visits. And over here, we're going to be looking at which diseases are most commonly diagnosed among the patients. And finally, we're going to be looking at, are certain diseases more prevalent in one gender compared to the other? So how do we answer this particular question using this particular data that we have right here? So let's get into it. The very first thing you have to do is just to go to your PC and search for Anaconda Navigator. If you don't have it installed and you want to follow up step by step, I have a link right under this particular video description for you. Check it out and see how you can actually install Anaconda Navigator or Anaconda just to actually use Python to analyze this data with me. Okay, once you have this launched right now, let's go to my browser and let's see how it works. So once you launch it, this is what you're going to see. So over here, if I click on this particular part, it gives you the installed applications and non-installed application, and if there is any, updatable applications among those ones right here. So if I click on the installed one right now, it's going to give us the list of the installed applications we have right here. Among the list of those particular installed applications, the only one we're going to use is actually this particular Jupyter Notebook right here. So make sure you just click on launch and it will definitely launch it for you. And that will give you something that looks like this. Okay. What it has opened right now is actually your desktop, everything you have inside your system. Specifically, look at it right now. We have your desktop right here. And to get started, just go ahead and create a file inside your desktop. Let us create a file that we're going to store in all our project, right? So double click this. So now it has the desktop open for you, and right here we can create a new folder in here. So just click over new. From new, go ahead and click over new folder. So now we have a new folder that we can actually rename. So here's going to be hospital data analysis, right? So we have a new folder right now. We can double click on this particular folder to actually have it opened. So inside this particular folder is actually blank. There is nothing in it. So we can come over here and actually click on this particular Python that has this particular Anaconda right here. So once we have this right now, we can actually go ahead and double click to open it up. This is the environment where we can actually start writing Python code to analyze the data you have seen, previously. So right here is untitled. We can actually change it to whatever the name should be. Okay, over here is going to be so hospital analysis is what I've just named this. Just click on rename there. So we have just renamed this and it's okay. So here we go. So we can test out this particular environment and see if it can actually run Python. So I'm just going to say print here. Inside I'm going to write hello world. So to run this now, I can actually go ahead and hold my control key down and hit enter key. And here we have hello world. So this is not why we are here. It is time to actually get serious about why we are here. So let us look at what the first question is and how we can actually load our data into Python to start analyzing the data. The first question says, what is the total numbers of patients? So to get this right now, so you need to actually open the downloaded file. And here you're going to see this particular health data set right here. So to actually get this into Python, what you need to do is to go ahead and copy part. Can you see now? I have just copied its part right here. If you are using Windows 11, you might want to go ahead and right click and you're going to see copy part right here. Then you copy the part. So next right now, it is time for me to look at how we can actually load this particular data in here. So if I want to leave this particular hello world right here, all you have to do is to hold your shift key, enter key, and that will open this particular part for you. If you don't want it, you can go ahead and delete it. Specifically, if you don't want to keep this one, you can click over here and it has been deleted. Okay, right now we need to actually import our data, which I have just copied its part. So I'm just going to go ahead and do import pandas as PD. So don't hold the control key, otherwise it will run it and you might have an error. Just hit the enter key. So over here now, we need to load this particular data in. I always love to leave comment. So to leave comment right now, using the hashtag, so I can just say load in data from CSV. So we go into the next line and our data set has a name. The name of our data, or the name of the workbook here, or the CSV rather, is health_dataset, right? So we don't need to actually get this particular name right there, but whatever you want to actually make a reference, you might want to go with this particular name to keep, remembering what the name is. So we come over here right now. I'm going to create this health_data right here. Putting an equal sign, I'm going to say pd dot, right? So dot read _CSV. So once I've done this right now, I'm going to open a parenthesis or bracket, open and close, and paste in this right here. Guess what? Do you think this is going to run? No. So I'm going to go into the next line. So over here, I'm going to say display the first few rows. So I'm going to just leave a comment here. Just display the first few rows. So to display that right now, we need to actually use the print function. Please make sure whenever you're using the print function, you don't do that in uppercase. So you just do small letter, print. So what do we want to print? We print health_data. So where is that health_data from? This is exactly what we are printing right now. So we're trying to actually display the rows and columns we have inside our data set. Okay, over here, once I've done this, I'm going to just do dot head. So we close this. So if I hit my enter key right now, I'm expecting to see this particular error. So we have different ways to solve this particular situation right here. So this particular is a slash or pipe. I don't know what it is. So if you want to actually make this particular code run now, you have two options to do that. So the first option is to actually, add one more over here. So just keep adding and make sure you have this backslash, to all through it. I'm going to show you the easiest way to get it done, but for now, let us just stick to this one and look at how this can actually make our code to run and display what we want. So you can click over here to run this. So now we have actually gotten this displayed, right? So what if I just go ahead and Control Z to return it back to normal? And right now, if I go ahead and run this right now, it's just going to give us this particular error. So over here, you can see Python is smart enough to actually point us to where the problem is. So it's actually telling us that we can actually add something here to display it, which means if we don't want to add more backslashes over here to escape it. So what is this? So why do we normally actually add this? So this particular backslash that's going to be double is normally used for window file path to avoid having, errors like this, right? Because this particular backslash is used, with some couple of letters that will definitely help you to get a new line and stuff like that. And as well, a space like \t space \n is actually a new line. So when this particular backslash is here, so the machine is gonna like, okay, you're trying to do something. So in order to avoid this right now, what you need to do is to put R over here. So let's go over here. So before this particular double quotes here, the R in small letter, and if I go ahead and run this right now, this works just fine. Can you see this now? This is what it is that you need to do. So we have just displayed this, and we don't actually specify how many, rows we want to actually display. So if I come over here now and say display just 5 rows right here, and I go ahead and run this. So now we have this. So if I want to just go beyond this now, let's say 30 rows. So we have this long list right here. Can you see it now? Long list of the rows we have right here. So but we don't want to display something too much like this, so I'm just going to keep it at just 5, or at default we just want to just go ahead and run this, and it gives us like the 5 from 0 to 4, which is 5 rows at default. So this is beautiful. So now we have just displayed our data, and all of the columns we have inside the data is what we have just displayed right now. So we have the patient ID, gender, disease, treatment, hospital, admission date, discharge date, treatment status, case, cause of death, date of birth as well. Okay, what if I want to show some few columns, like I want to show gender, disease, and let's do treatment. So how do you actually do that? So inside this particular, file path right here, I'm going to just come over here now and just drop it down. Once I've done that, you need to actually add a comma over here. And inside here, I'm going to type in use calls like this, right? So equals. So inside here, I'm going to do just show me gender, put a comma here. We want treatment as well as a column. We just want to show a few columns. Let's say I want to show these particular 2 columns. So all I need to do now, my control key, hit my enter key to display it. So now I have an error. What could be the reason for this particular error right here? Let's find out. So over here, we have everything doing fine. So we can quickly check now and look at this use calls right here. So let's check it out. So we are using unused. So any little, mistake wouldn't give us what we want. So let us take this off right now and run this again. So now we have what we want. So we just want to display these particular 2 columns right here, gender and treatment, and we have it. In case you want to actually, display more rows here, you can say display just the first 20 rows and go ahead and run this. And here you go. You have something like this displayed. Okay. So we have actually, displayed this. We don't need to actually call this again over and over again. But in my own case, I don't want to just put this over here. So you have known now that you can actually display, some couple of headers or columns that you need. So I'm going to get this one off from here. So once we get this one off, remember, so we have this back. So we don't want to have something as huge as this. I'm going to take off this particular part. Now we click on run. So at default, we have this. if you look at the question, it says, what is the total numbers of patients that we actually have? So how do we actually go ahead and display that right now? So over here, I love using comments to actually get it done. Inside the comment here, so what I'm going to do right now, I'm going to just say, okay, I want to count the numbers of patients. So to count numbers of patients right now, all I need to do is just to use total records. So inside total records, so I'm going to say equals. So health underscore data. So I believe you know what this particular health underscore data is all about. Let's go all the way up right here. This is it. We're calling this right now. So when we have done this, we're going to say dot shape. So we'll put 0 over here. And now, do we have to run this yet? Not, of course. So we need to print this out. So how do we get this done? So now on a new line, I'm going to say print. So make sure your print is not actually on caps. It's going to be all on small letter. So what do you want to print? If I just say print for me this particular total underscore records here and close. So it's going to give me the total numbers of records that we have. So what we have just done now is to solve this particular part right here. You can copy this and have it as a question. So over here, so just do this. Okay, now we have this, but it doesn't really make sense for we to actually have something as just, 8,000 right here. So you can come over here now and just say inside here, total patients. So this is what you just need to do with a comma. Now you can go ahead and run this. So now it gives us total patients. So can you see it now? This is just the first question that we have just solved. So now to add a new line, your shift key, hit the enter key. Now we have this particular new part where we can actually start writing a new code. So over here, the question is just like, how is the patient population distributed by gender? So to get this done right now, what we need to do is to quickly go ahead and count, the number of patients by gender. So I'm going to create a variable here, gender underscore count, so equals. So don't forget the health here underscore data. So that was how we got to call and show this, which is this particular one. This is what we're displaying right over here. Always remember this. It's very important. So what we want to do right now is that we want to actually count the total patients by gender. And in order to do this now, we just need to actually specify the column I want to use. So over here, it is this particular bracket here. So inside it, we're going to call gender. So make sure the spelling is correct. So once you have done this now, we're going to say dot value underscore count. So which means we want to count the numbers of records. So over here, we can actually go ahead and say print. So what are we printing? We're printing this particular gender underscore count. So once we've done this, close this and control hit the enter key. So you're going to have something like this. But do you know this doesn't really make any sense? So what if we go ahead and actually add another print again before the main print? So over here, we're just going to say print. And what do we want to print? So we want to actually go ahead and print here gender distribution. right? So if I just go ahead and run this right now, Control key, hold it down, then hit the enter key. Now it says gender distribution, right? And here we have the male, the female, right? Okay, now with this right now is actually, okay. But what if we decide to actually get this visualized? It's very important. So how do we get to some kind of visualize this so that it could actually look more better than just showing normal value? So let us look at how we can create a visual inside Python. Okay, right now, shift and hit the enter key. Now you have this particular environment. So over here, I'm going to do here. So I'm going to visualize gender distribution. So to get this particular, visual the way we want it right now, what we need to do is just to make sure we some kind of import Matplotlib is what we need. So let's do import matplot library here. So .py plot as plt, right? So once we have done that particular importation, so we are going to actually, get the gender count. So the gender count is actually this particular one right here. We're not doing something different. So we just go ahead and call it. That is it. So I'm going to do .plot. So open a bracket here and type in kind. So equals bar. So put a comma. Let us give it color. So we have male and we have female. We need to specify the color for male and the color for female. So to do that right now, we're going to say color equals, set this particular square bracket here. We want to say we want sky blue. So put a comma here, and the next one again we want light green, right? So once you're done now, we can go ahead and have the bracket closed. Okay, let's see if we decide to actually, show this right now. You can just come down here and say plt.show. So nothing shows up right here. Can you see it now? If I run this now, there is no any error, but it doesn't show anything. That was because we have not actually specified, the title, the y-axis, and as well the x-axis, right? So what do? Before this particular show up right here, so when I say over here, plt.title, which is the title we want to have on our, oh, sorry, that showed up. Can you see now? That showed up right here. So, but this is actually without some kind of any title right now. So we can now bring in title. We can now say that the male gender has more values, right? Which is more patient than the female. And the same color we specified is what we have right here. But we did this without, the title. So we want to put title right on our chart. So to get that done right now, open a bracket here. So I'll actually bring in the title. So the title should actually be total patients by gender. That is all. Okay. So if you want actually, if I just go ahead and run this now, so now you can now see we have total patients by gender. So this is actually cool. What if we want to have some kind of x-axis, right? So which is this right here. We already have it. So we have gender right in here. which is actually awesome. So if you want to actually have another y-axis, which is something showing up right here, so what do? That is going to be your y-axis. So we're going to come over here now, go down. So plt dot y label. So y label here. Inside here now, we are going to say we want to see the numbers of patients. So if I run this now, I have an error. So what is the issue here? So here is not E but A. So let's just run this again. So we have what? We have numbers of patients right here. This is optional. I'm just going to show you in case you have a scenario whereby you need to use this. But for me, I don't normally add this to my chart, but you need to know that something like this is actually existing. You get it right now? So this is exactly what you need to know. All right, if you look at this right now, this looks beautiful, but it is not final. So I'm going to leave this one the way it is right now and go ahead and copy this particular part right here. So copy. So once you have copied this right now, just go ahead and paste it right here. So right now, I am going to actually leave a comment here and say, adding data so adding data label. So like what we want right now, we want to show the numbers of the total patients we have for the male gender, and we'll do the same thing for the numbers of total patients for the female gender right here. So right now, if I still go ahead and run this, it's going to display the same exact thing to me right here. But we need to go beyond what we have right here right now. So let's just look at how we can customize the label part. So over here, I can just say label part. So for the label part right now, we're going to use the for loop right here. So for bar in ax dot patches here. So when I set the height equals bar dot get underscore height. So we go into the next line. This next line now, we're going to do ax right here. So dot annotate. So we open a bracket for it and we go down. So inside here, what we need to do is actually do here int, and we do height. So we close this and put a comma right here. I'm going to explain all of this. Just watch me write it first before I explain exactly what I have done right here. So over here now we do xy equals open bracket bar dot get underscore x. So here we go ahead and close this particular part here. So we're not going to do plus bar dot get underscore width. So we divide this by 2. So place the comma right here and we do height. So close and we put a comma right here. So now we're gonna do xy text equals open bracket 0,5. Don't worry, I'm going to explain all of this, then comma again, and over here I'm going to actually do text codes equals. So inside here, we're going to do offset points. So place the comma right here. So we do har equals center. The var here equals bottom right here. So what we need to do right now is to go ahead and have this closed right here. And this is exactly what we need to do. So now we're going to run this and look at it. If it works, we're going to look at what exactly we have done that made it work and what are those particular code we have just written. So it's very, very important. So let us go ahead and run this. So here we encounter some couple of errors. So we need to fix this. Something is actually wrong a little bit right here. Let's fix it first. So let us go ahead and take a look at what the error message is all about. So if we go down now, quickly you can catch up what the error message is actually talking about right here. So over here it says name AX is not defined. So we just have to go all the way up right through the code right here. And where could we add that? So we have to go over. So we can go over to where we have this particular agenda right now and define our AX right here. So it's going to be equals, right? Let's run this and see. So now this actually doesn't give us any error again. But unfortunately, this is not showing us the label that we want to display. So what could be the possible issue? So I think over here we are doing, PLT show. You can actually cut off this particular part right here and bring it to this particular bottom part here. So now it works. That was just me putting this at the wrong direction. So now we have it working 100%. So you can now see we have, 5,206, and over here we have 2,794, patients. So let us compare it to this particular one. You can see over here we just have the bars and there was no tooltip, so we can't really tell the actual number right here, even though if this particular y-axis suggests that we have above 5,000 here. And over here, this shows that it's actually between 3,000. So we are not certain on what number it could be. But right now, if we go down over here now, this has given us exactly the actual number we are actually looking at. So I hope this actually gives you what you need to know. So it is time for you to come back here again and start looking at what this particular part of the code is actually doing. Let us explain it and look at how we can actually understand this better so that we can write it all by ourselves. Let us look at this particular part of the code, which is the for loop. So over here we have AX, dot patches right here. This actually contains all the bars in the chart, right? So if we go over here now, we have two bars, 1 and 2. So if we have more than that, it's going to actually maintain that for us. So this loops through each bars in the chart one after the other, and we just have two bars right here. So going through now, we have the height, which has the bar.get underscore, height right here. So this returns the height value of the bar, and what determines the height over here is actually this particular number we have right here. So this value is how many, patients the hospital has in total. You get it right now? So that is actually what this particular part is actually doing. Then we have, AX annotate right here. So this particular part actually helps you to convert the, it helps you to actually convert the patient's number into an integer for display. You get it right now? That is what that particular part actually does. It's something very simple. So you might want to actually try as much as you could to write it over and over again until it sticks. So we're going to be reusing this in our subsequent, tasks to come, but you just have to remember that you learning how to write this does not mean that you have to copy it. So if you want to just copy and paste, you must make sure you have known how to do it. Just to fasten a project, you can do copy and paste. But if you're trying to learn and make this to stick, you just have to learn how to write it over and over again until you can actually do it without looking at it, right? So we have just gotten this particular part of our project created. So this is awesome. We have added a data label to it.